Hey everybody, good evening. So this is Tuesday night. I'm actually not in the biggest mood to want to do these kind of videos now, but I'm doing this because of the fact that I want to keep up with this record of what I've been going through, what's happening in the times and that sort of thing. And this is affecting how my art output is and what I'm thinking and going through. First of all, this I didn't need notes for. How are all of you guys doing? Just from having looked on social media that yeah, a lot of us are going through, some flare-ups with lack of money and income, and probably now starting to go a little bit stir crazy, even though it hasn't really been that long. So much of this is because we are social animals and many of us live paycheck to paycheck. And this hasn't been an easy time for anyone. I don't have answers. I wish I did. I wish that there was a way that I'd be able to directly help and support so many people out there, but I can't. I know that things are scary. I do not and am not going to downplay all of what is going on. There's no way. I'm just going to give a little bit of an insight as to things that I've been going through and how I've been feeling, and maybe that will help some of you relate and go, okay, I'm not the only one feeling this way. Personally, I've been trying to, keep in touch with my parents and my brother and sister and, extended family in general, making sure everyone's doing all right. I've been cleaning and working on my studio slower than I'd like, kind of spending more time thinking than anything. I've been reading some, organizing. I've done a little bit of writing. Poetry hasn't been really flowing as well as I'd like it to. Writing people, like, reaching out on social media and talking to different people, friends of mine that live overseas and down south and stuff. Thankfully, I've also had some freelance work come in, and that's been really nice. And I also got a commission just today, which I'm really looking forward to. When I said I was thinking, a lot during this time as I'm like organizing books or cleaning up my collection or whatever, because, Lord knows I sure as hell I'm not going for walks right now. I went by my friend Brian's house the other day, and it was kind of weird. This is a guy I've worked with for a long while now. To kind of keep the social distancing thing, I had to put myself in that mindset. But we spoke a little bit, and it was nice to see him again and that sort of thing. And although I am somebody who, if somebody told me, you got to stay home, you've got to be under house arrest, wouldn't really bug me that much. I'm definitely the kind of person that I can go for a long time without seeing other people in larger groups or being around other people. It doesn't really bug me that much. I was pretty much a loner growing up. It doesn't really affect me. I'm, even when I used to work at big entertainment districts like Power and Light or anywhere else like that, I yearned for being able to get home and just decompress and walk away from that. When I worked at Hallmark, you kind of get into this path and rhythm, and I think everybody can relate to this. We get used to these repetitious ways. We are creatures of habit, where you have your favorite bar, your favorite restaurant, your favorite way that you walk into work, your favorite parking spot, whatever. And those are the little idiosyncrasies in life that you end up putting out there, thinking about, dealing with daily. And suddenly when something comes along and begins to upend that and rearrange how you're doing things, so many of my colleagues are working from home. So many people I know are getting a taste of what a lot of my life has predominantly been like. And other professionals way more, work at home than I am. And I guess the reflection that I had on this was, what is the long-term outlet of this? What is it going to turn into? Are employers learning anything from this? Are employees learning anything from this? Because for a long time, there was always this mandate that we had to be at work and work directly from work. And that is true still for a great amount of people. And I'm going to get into that more here in just a second. But for a lot of the workforce, they are, for the most part, able to work from home. Now, of course, there's going to be distractions for some people, like children or pets or significant others or just whatever that will come into play. And that's true across the board. But people have been working from home for quite a long time, traveling salesmen, other things like that, even back before the internet. So it is possible, does happen. That's not an issue. But I kept going back to thinking about other norms that people have had to address and deal with. Everything from, do I go out and eat, to what is open, to the insanity that's happening consistently at grocery stores. that shouldn't be happening. I touched on this in my last video, but I'm still not understanding why that sort of thing is happening. And I get it, because even the few times that I've gone, like recently I went to the neighborhood Walmart just the other day to pick up a few more things that I really wanted, just things that would keep me away from like drive-throughs or anything else like that. And whenever I went in, there was this taller, larger, older man that he just had this look of dismay on his face, just kind of like looks at the guy and says, "I got a question. Are you ever going to get any toilet paper in?" And I could see that the little smaller guy kind of shrunk back for a second, like anticipating some sort of like beleaguerment, or something like that. And the bigger guy was like, "I'm not trying to be an ass. I'm out. I have nothing for my family." The kid, I call him a kid, he looked like he was in his mid-20s, was like, "Sir, actually this morning we had a line outside when we opened. We had 2 pallets. They were gone within the first 15 minutes of the store opening." And the look on the guy's face, not the Walmart employee, the older man, was one of complete and utter just shock, dismay. He definitely looked wary. He looked just defeated. And a small part of me at that moment thought, you know what, maybe I should go up and tell him, "Hey, you know what, I can get you some." But I thought about that for a second. I wasn't going to charge him. I really did think about just giving him something, because I could understand that. I've been in that situation before where you're so desperate that you really don't know what the hell to do. And that could be financially, that could be, anything like that. And so I really thought about it for just a second, but then common sense kind of overcame me, and I thought, you know what? Companies are making that stuff. It will be back out there again. It does suck. It isn't a situation any person should ever have to be in when they're out trying to help their family or themselves or whatever the case is and get something that they need. And so I walked up to him and I said, "Hey, might want to try, there's a Mexican grocery store. They're usually pretty well stocked. There's a couple of Asian stores in the area. Those places aren't being hit, by large crowds or anything else like that. You might want to check that out." My brother, in fact, I told him, he went to Office Depot and found a couple there. Now, they were a little bit more expensive because it was office stuff, but I remember when my brother messaged me about that, or my mom was telling me about it, I'm sorry, that she got a message from him that he had found some in Office Depot. She's like, "Why would that be there?" And I was explaining to her, well, for small businesses or just people out on the run that, oh, hey, we need a 4-pack or something like that we're going to pay $17 for, but it's still there. So he seemed a little bit more relieved by that and went on with his shopping. I wished I could have done more, but there wasn't really anything more that I could have done and felt safe or responsible about that. And that's a shame. I shouldn't be feeling that way. I was more upset at myself because I didn't do more. That has weighed heavily over the last couple of days. One of the things I did get to do is I now work for the Nelson Atkins Museum. They are a wonderful place to work, but they are currently shut down. I am a security guard there. The other day, there was a circumstance where I had a moment with a fellow who was homeless, and I don't really want to go too much into the details or anything else like that. Needless to say, our conversation after, some pleasantries and stuff and just checking on him and that sort of thing kind of ended with, hey, me telling him, "Hey, take care of yourself." And he was like, "Don't worry about me. I'm disposable." That at its core, beyond this coronavirus thing, beyond a lot of other issues in this country, is something that underpins an issue at the very core of who we are. We love to tout that this country is so amazing and so wonderful, and you'll get people that are true patriots or whatever nomenclature they want to use, but they aren't the people that are thinking of those that need help. And we all need help at some point in time, but hey, it's like pull yourselves up by your bootstraps or whatever sort of Gestapo-like phrasing that is. I don't actually understand that, For years and years and years, social norms would reflect on how we felt about different groups, whether that was through just grasping for whatever small things we got and feeling superior over another group just so we felt like our life was well lived. That's inherently flawed, but that's how this country was based, founded, and created. And it still is this way in so many ways. Now, I'm not going to turn this into any kind of societal rant. There's no time for that. There's no way I could possibly cover that. But it was something, again, that wore down heavily on me. And because of that, well, let me jump into this other thing. So it was like a three punch right to my head, right to my brain, because I kept thinking, I'm like, you know what? I'm already feeling down. I don't really know what else to do. I'm feeling like, God, okay, I'm starting to get depressed. I'm starting to get like really down. So I decided I'm going to go back and start organizing some stuff on my hard drive. So I started using, file renamers and grouping files together like, hey, these are videos from NakaCon. These are old pictures from when I went to Oklahoma, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I just got more depressed. And it's only been a few days that I've been stuck in the house. Even over that little bit of time, I was looking back at that and I kept thinking to myself, is this going to go back to any semblance of normalcy? It eventually will. I'm not stupid. I'd like to think that. But it was just a really poignant moment when you think back to, what things were like. And of course, all glasses from yesteryear are rose-colored. They always are. And when you're looking through the lens of a camera, the narrative can definitely be something where you look back and you kind of wish you could step back into that. It's just a little bit sad, at least it was for me. And so, because of those three things, and even really before that, before all this came down, I haven't had the energy to really do more artwork. I started kind of getting into the row of it right before, I was planning on NakaCon. I had all these plans for, hey, I'm going to hit this hard. And I was going to sell, I was going to, get new people involved in what I was creating and all these other sorts of things. And there's been all of this talk of like online artist alleys and all this other stuff. And for some reason, my enthusiasm over the whole thing has just fallen flat. I just don't believe that it's going to go as well as we think it is. And I'm talking about, being a creative and trying to sell stuff right now. I get it. And there are people out there doing a hell of a job selling. They're still trying to push through as best they can and keep life as normal as possible. I applaud that. That's amazing. And for some people, they have no choice. I'm still working technically 1.5 day jobs or night jobs, all day jobs. I'm working 1.5 jobs and doing freelance work at the same time. I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty lucky right now. Even if it is sporadic, even if my hours are messed up. I mean, I'm basically overnight. I work at the museum from the afternoon until early morning hours, 4 days a week on certain days. And so that is something that I had to try and acclimate to. It's kind of like working extended shifts at the bar, but not having to deal with somebody throwing a chair at my face, which is fantastic. Because of all this, it's put me into a state of being worried. I mean, I see a lot of people who are creative and a lot of other small businesses and stuff, people and entrepreneurs that are putting their best effort out there, and sometimes it's still not enough. Now, on that same note, there are people that are worried because of the social shutdowns that we're going through right now, where they want only businesses that are necessary to be open, and we're trying to, whatever the term is, flattening the curve to get past this sort of thing and deal with this. And I'm grateful for the people out there that are thinking, hey, shop local, support people, buy gift certificates, do this sort of thing. All good thinking, all very good efforts. My only issue is, how important are they to the general public? You see, it's hard enough anyway trying to make a sale when you go to a show. It's damn near impossible in most circumstances unless you have items and creations or services that are either really popular or really, kind of become the social norm for people, like a Starbucks or something like that, to sell that repeatedly. And shouting out into social media nowadays is literally like yelling into a tornado. You will not get heard. And even if your hashtag game is on point, it's probably not going to register unless you put a lot of work into it. For me, I just felt like, between seeing the anxiety on people's faces, between, having that interaction with that gentleman who was homeless, to just everything that's going on, I've taken my own hit. Do I think I'm depressed? I don't know. I don't think I am. I probably have a tinge of it, but it's more that I had to step back. In fact, today I ended up playing. I got on Steam and played a couple of games today. I was so grateful. Sometimes you forget what you have, because somebody shared this the other day, and I love that thought. They were talking about, look to the things you have now, for they were once the things you once pined for. And so I thought, yeah, there are a lot of things like that. Like, I have stuff here. I have books, magazines, games, and, art projects, art supplies, many things that at one point in time I really wanted. And in some circumstances, I bought them for retail therapy. But there were plenty of times when I thought, well, this is something I want to get to later. Well, I've got, quite a bit of free time on my hand and a lot of stuff that I could be doing. I've been thankful for the freelance and for the commissions, because that's at least making me stay busy and keeping my mind going in a certain direction. And being able to work on this studio is always, it's my safe space, and definitely something that I feel really good about. And I don't mean safe space in the way that a lot of people will freak out about. What I mean is, for me, it's always been, well, I guess I do. Maybe I do mean it that way. I was going to say I don't mean it in the same way that a lot of other people do, because you get this negative connotation, which is not my own personal take on it. But if somebody can't handle things, or they're triggered or whatever, they need their safe space. I am not, negating that. I am not. I just think that the term safe space tends to have a negative connotation to it, when it should be it just is such a weird term. And I think maybe I've also been having an issue too with a lot of that. Like, I really have to take a step back from social media for a while, which I have been doing, which is kind of the double-edged blade though, because on one side, if I don't advertise my artwork and my services, or reach out to people and talk to clients and stuff, I will never get the work that I need to produce to pay bills to keep on going. Hell of a catch-22. Really, really weird. And I'm hoping that some people that aren't in this career field, when they're at home, are thinking of this sort of thing. Also, here's another little bit of reality. For everyone that's complaining about being locked in one place and not being able to go anywhere, or getting tired of their surroundings or anything, that's what a rescue dog goes through for many, many days, if not years, in many rescues. Oh yeah, pets, they don't give you the coronavirus. It's backed up by science. Don't surrender your dogs or cats. I have so many people that I know on social media, some that are acquaintances, some that are real life friends, that are doing something that, even this video, I feel like it's more of a, just a self-recording that's just to say, hey, here's where you were, man, and go back and look at this. And if people watch it, great. But these people are actively going out and they're engaging people. They're trying to bring about not just positivity, but be that beacon of light in a time that is really confusing and is really freaking scary. And that I can't get over. I mean, honestly, it's a good thing to see happening, because you've got a lot of people that aren't doing that. So you constantly need the people that will be doing the best they possibly can. We are inundated daily with all kinds of things, from, a modicum of slice of life sort of scenarios, kind of like what I'm doing in this video, that isn't really necessarily as much informational as it is just my own views, to what officials and your local neighbor is telling you. Now, when you're trying to disseminate all that information on a daily basis, it can become really difficult to just try and live life, but also feel like you're doing your own due diligence in what you're trying to figure out, just so you can make it to the next day. And I don't mean to sound so confoundingly apocalyptic about it. I think it's just something that is happening right now. And the best thing you can do is be smart about what you're taking in. Don't freak out. Seriously. Just practice good hygiene. Do the best you can. Self-isolate. Take it seriously. That's the thing that I think I'm more scared of, is that people aren't taking this seriously, because there's a lot of people that don't want that change in life. They're so used to getting, their cup of coffee in the morning. They're so used to driving this place, going here, window shopping, doing whatever, that they're not willing to make a sacrifice for a little bit of time, a small chunk of their life, to ensure that everybody else is going to be okay. Yeah, that's selfish, but more importantly, it's something where you have to take a look at yourself and who you are as a person if you don't want to do that sort of thing. I also think that trying to keep as positive of an outlook in all of this is absolutely vital and important. Sure, I'm going through my own depression. Yeah, I don't feel like doing a lot of, my artwork and that sort of thing. And I do apologize for the lack of time-lapse videos. I might actually do one tonight. I'm feeling pretty good now that I've done this video. Here's your moment. And not just for you fellow introverts, not just for you guys. Here's your moment. Take the time. I've got friends that are huge into board games. I've got friends that are huge into video games. I've got friends that love reading and all this other stuff. This is absolutely everything they were wanting. Aside from the COVID-19 aspect, this is pretty much everything they've ever wanted, is time to themselves to be able to do these things. Explore a new hobby, build Lego sets, whatever your fancy is. Now, for the rest of you who are used to going out and jazzercising or whatever it is you guys do, you can still do that. You can still work out at home. You can still garden. You can still pick up a new hobby. Maybe you guys learn board games. Maybe you take the time to explain exactly how football works to somebody like me who doesn't really get it. Maybe you can do things like that. Maybe you can talk to your family. Now, I will end this on one note that I didn't really want to touch on, and unfortunately it's a little bit of a somber one, but I will add this in there. I taught for a little while. Now, mine was through Young Rembrandts, and so it was a special elective sort of project class after school. For a lot of people out there freaking out about this, understand that, yes, homeschooling is hard. And I even had a former student message me a meme, which made me laugh, about how I had said, you could never make a living as a YouTuber. And he proceeded to send a picture of what I assume was a teacher teaching via Skype. I just didn't have any words for that. I really, I really didn't. I was like, shit. Touche, kid, you're going to go far. You really are going to go far. But I want to bring up something that, in fact, that kid in particular, and a few others I've known, for some of them, school really is the escape. And they don't have those other opportunities or social gatherings or safe spaces. It isn't at home like it is for me. It isn't anywhere else but in the classroom, around people that maybe don't yell at them and don't harm them. So I want people to remember that. We tend to disavow older generations and younger generations all the time. I hate the term, okay, boomer. The boomer generation were the first revolutionaries. They set the stage for a lot of us so-called revolutionaries. Even then, what good does it do to be derisive toward people like that and dismissive? I can say the exact same thing for younger people. The truth is, being an idiot knows no age and no boundaries. There's always going to be exceptions to the rule. Always. But don't start lumping people in with labels. And don't assume that every kid is extremely happy because they're home from school or any of these things. I wish I had like some earth-shattering wisdom to share with you guys. I don't. I really don't. I really just hate seeing people out there hurting. And I hate seeing what people are going through. And I hate what some people have become. Those are situations that are so debilitating and so just damn messed up. But I will, let me end this on kind of an uplifting note. I'll go back to what people are trying to do that is good. Even with this whole social distancing thing, the fact that teachers, that other people are out there creating things and doing stuff like this via video, pre-recorded or live or whatever, the fact that we are reconnecting on many levels, neighbor to neighbor, people in public, and you're starting to see the good come out of people. Man, that's heartening. It enlivens a lot inside of me. It makes me feel good. And it helps get, the depression and other fears out of my head, at least for a little while. And for that, I'm grateful. There's some people making some really funny things out there on YouTube and on other stuff like Twitch. Just amazing stuff. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I appreciate it. I do appreciate all of you guys that have subscribed to my channel without me even saying anything. It's been crazy. I haven't actually been advertising the channel, and I've been slowly picking up a subscriber, I think once a month. I'm up to 82 people. Woo! That's pretty amazing. I'm actually really freaking happy about that. So it does also make me feel extremely guilty because I'm not sharing anything else aside from these vlogs right now, but I've got to at least try and do this sort of thing for my own sanity and maybe to help you guys out a little bit by trying to spread a little bit of cheer and just my own opinion. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Now, I'm thinking that, there's plenty of now, there are plenty of